everyone. Welcome back to Speak Your Flow, the podcast where we help you master English speaking naturally and confidently. I'm your host, Michael, and today we have a very special guest with us.
Hi everyone, I'm Olivia, and I'm so excited to be here today.
Olivia, you're an English language coach who has helped thousands of students learn to think in English. Today, we're going to talk about something that every English learner struggles with: how to stop translating in your head and start thinking directly in English.
Yes, this is probably the most common question I get from my students. They tell me, Olivia, I know the words, I know the grammar, but when I speak, I have to translate everything from my native language first. It makes me slow and uncomfortable.
Exactly. And that translation process is exhausting. So let's dive right in. Olivia, why is thinking in English so important for fluency?
Great question, Michael. When you think in English, you become fluent naturally. Let me explain. When you translate in your head, your brain does extra work. First, you think in your native language, then you translate to English, then you speak. That's 3 steps.
3 steps for every sentence. No wonder people get tired.
Exactly. But when you think in English, you skip the middle step. You think and speak at the same time. This makes you faster, more confident, and more natural. Native speakers don't translate, they just speak, and you can do the same.
So, thinking in English is really the key to speaking fluently without hesitation.
Yes, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is, anyone can learn to do this. It's not about talent or being smart, it's about practice and using the right methods.
That's encouraging. So, where should beginners start?
The first step is to start small. Don't try to think complex thoughts in English right away. Start with simple things you do every day. For example, when you wake up in the morning, think in English, I'm waking up, I'm tired, I need coffee.
So, like narrating your life in English.
Yes, exactly like that. Throughout your day, describe what you're doing in simple English. I'm making breakfast. I'm eating toast. I'm drinking water. I'm checking my phone.
That sounds easy enough. But what if you don't know a word?
Perfect question. If you don't know a word, use simple words you already know. For example, if you don't know the word refrigerator, you can say cold box or food storage. The goal is not perfect vocabulary. The goal is to keep thinking in English without stopping.
So, it's better to use simple words than to stop and translate.
Yes, always keep the English flow going. You can look up the correct word later, but in the moment, just keep thinking in English, even if it's not perfect.
I love that approach. It takes the pressure off. What's the next step?
The next method is to label things in your environment. Look around your room right now. What do you see? A chair, a table, a window, a door, a lamp. Say these words in English.
So you're training your brain to recognize objects in English first.
Exactly. When you see a chair, your brain should automatically think chair, not translate from your language to English. This happens through repetition. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes.
This is really interesting. So it's like building new pathways in your brain?
Yes, your brain creates connections. Right now, when you see an object, your brain connects it to your native language first. But we want to create direct connections to English, and we do this through constant practice.
How long does it take to build these connections?
It depends on how much you practice. If you practice every day, even for just 10 or 15 minutes, you'll notice changes in a few weeks. After a few months, thinking in English will feel much more natural.
That's actually faster than I expected. What other methods can help?
This is my favorite method, and it sounds a bit funny, but it works amazingly well. Talk to yourself in English throughout the day.
Wait, like having conversations with yourself?
Yes, and I know it sounds strange, but hear me out. When you talk to yourself, there's no pressure. Nobody is listening, nobody is judging you. You can make mistakes freely.
That's true. So what kind of things should people say to themselves?
Anything. You can describe what you're doing. I'm cooking dinner now. I need to cut these vegetables. Oh, this knife is sharp. I need to be careful. Or you can plan your day. Today, I need to go to the store. I need to buy milk, bread, and eggs. Then I'll come home and study English.
So it's like practicing real conversations but without another person.
Exactly. And here's another tip. Ask yourself questions and answer them. What do I want for lunch? I want chicken and rice. Why? Because it's healthy and delicious.
This is brilliant. You're practicing questions and answers at the same time.
Yes, and you can practice any topic. You can pretend you're at a job interview or ordering food at a restaurant or talking to a friend, all in the safety of your own mind.
This removes the fear of making mistakes in front of others.
Exactly. Fear is the biggest enemy of language learning. When you practice alone, you build confidence. Then when you speak with real people, you feel more comfortable.
Olivia, many learners translate word by word. They think of a sentence in their language, then translate each word to English. Why is this a problem?
This is a huge problem. Every language has different structures. When you translate word by word, your English sounds unnatural and sometimes confusing.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. In some languages, people might say the equivalent of, I am having 25 years. But in English, we say, I am 25 years old. If you translate word by word, it sounds strange.
So what's the solution?
Think in chunks, not individual words. Learn common phrases and expressions as complete units. For example, learn how are you as one piece, not as three separate words.
So learn phrases, not just vocabulary.
Yes, when you learn phrases, you learn how words naturally go together in English. You learn the rhythm and flow of the language.
That makes so much sense. Can you give us more examples of useful phrases?
Of course, instead of thinking about individual words, learn expressions like, I'm looking forward to, it depends on, I can't wait to. Let me think about it. That reminds me of. When you know these phrases, you can use them automatically without translating.
And these phrases work in many different situations, right?
Exactly. They're flexible and useful. This is how native speakers think. We don't build sentences word by word. We use familiar patterns and phrases.
Now, let's talk about immersion. How important is it to surround yourself with English?
Immersion is extremely important. Your brain needs constant exposure to English. The more English you hear and see, the more your brain gets used to it.
But many people don't live in English-speaking countries. How can they immerse themselves?
Great question. You don't need to live in an English-speaking country anymore. Technology makes immersion possible anywhere. Listen to English podcasts while exercising. Watch English YouTube videos while eating. Change your phone settings to English. Follow English social media accounts.
So you're basically creating an English environment in your daily life.
Yes, but key is to make English a normal part of your day, not something special you only do during study time. When English becomes part of your regular life, your brain starts processing it naturally.
What about watching movies and TV shows?
Excellent for immersion. But here's my tip. Watch without subtitles in your native language. Use English subtitles if needed or no subtitles at all. When you read subtitles in your language, your brain stays in translation mode.
That's a great point. What if someone doesn't understand without subtitles?
Start with content you already know. Watch a movie you've seen before, but this time in English. Since you know the story, you can follow along even if you don't understand every word. Gradually, your comprehension will improve.
So it's about gradual progress, not perfection.
Exactly. Language learning is a journey. Every day of practice moves you forward.
Here's an interesting question. Should people also think about their emotions in English?
Absolutely. This is actually very powerful. When you think about your feelings in English, you create a deeper connection with the language. Instead of thinking, I'm happy, only as a translation, you feel the emotion and think the English word together.
Can you explain more about this?
Sure. Throughout the day, notice your emotions and name them in English. I feel excited. I feel nervous. I feel tired. I feel proud. Connect the English word with the actual feeling in your body and mind.
So you're linking language with real experience?
Yes, this makes the language more personal and memorable. When you say, I'm frustrated, actually feel that frustration. When you say, I'm grateful, feel that gratitude. This creates strong mental connections.
This sounds almost like mindfulness practice combined with language learning.
You're absolutely right. It is very similar to mindfulness. You're being present with your experience and naming it in English. This helps English become a natural part of how you process the world.
What about more complex emotions? Not everyone knows words like overwhelmed or anxious or nostalgic.
Start simple. If you don't know overwhelmed, you can say, I feel too much pressure, or I have too many things to do. Remember, the goal is to think in English, not to use perfect vocabulary. As you learn more words, you'll naturally expand your emotional vocabulary.
Olivia, let's talk about a practical schedule. How can someone structure their day to practice thinking in English?
I recommend creating English-only time blocks. Choose specific times when you commit to thinking only in English. Start small, maybe 10 minutes in the morning.
Just 10 minutes.
Yes, it's better to do 10 minutes successfully every day than to try 1 hour and give up after 3 days. Consistency is more important than duration.
What should people do during these 10 minutes?
During your English time block, do normal activities, but think about them in English. You could prepare breakfast while describing everything. I'm opening the refrigerator. I'm taking out the eggs. I'm cracking the eggs into the pan. The pan is hot. I need to be careful.
So they're multitasking, doing their normal routine plus English practice.
Exactly. This makes English practice feel natural, not like extra work. You're not sitting at a desk studying, you're just living your life in English.
And then they can gradually increase the time.
Yes, after a week of 10 minutes, try 15 minutes, then 20 minutes. Eventually, you might have several English time blocks throughout the day. Morning routine in English, lunch in English, evening walk in English.
And during these times, if they need to speak with family or friends in their native language, what happens?
That's fine. The goal isn't to abandon your native language. It's to create dedicated English practice time. You can still communicate normally with others, but in your mind, you're thinking in English.
Here's something interesting I want to discuss. Should people plan their day in English?
Yes, this is an excellent strategy. When you plan in English, you're using the language for real purposes, not just practice. Try writing your to-do list in English, plan your schedule in English, make shopping lists in English.
So English becomes a practical tool, not just a subject to study.
Exactly. When English is useful in your daily life, your brain takes it more seriously.
It's not just schoolwork anymore. It's a real skill you use for real purposes.
What about bigger decisions, like choosing what career to pursue or where to go on vacation?
Yes, think through these decisions in English. Ask yourself questions. What job do I want? What are my goals? What makes me happy? Having these internal conversations in English strengthens your thinking abilities in the language.
This is fascinating because you're not just learning to speak English, you're learning to think and process life in English.
That's exactly it. And when you reach this level, English stops feeling foreign. It becomes a natural part of your thinking process.
How long does it typically take to reach this level?
It varies for everyone, but with consistent daily practice, most people start feeling more comfortable thinking in English after 2 to 3 months. After 6 months to a year, it becomes quite natural.
Let's address something that stops many learners. They worry too much about grammar. What's your advice?
When you're thinking in English, don't worry about perfect grammar. Seriously, native speakers make grammar mistakes when thinking too. The goal of thinking in English is fluency and comfort, not grammatical perfection.
But won't this create bad habits?
No, because you're also studying grammar separately. When you study, focus on grammar. But when you're thinking in English throughout the day, just let the language flow. Think of it like learning to ride a bike. First, you learn to balance and move. Later, you learn techniques and form.
So, fluency first, accuracy later?
Well, you develop both together, but yes, when thinking to yourself, fluency should be the priority. Your brain needs to get comfortable with English. If you stop and worry about every grammar rule, you'll never develop natural flow.
What about when speaking with others? Should they worry about grammar then?
Even when speaking with others, don't let grammar fear stop you from communicating. Of course, you want to be correct, but communication is more important than perfection. Native speakers will understand you even if you make small grammar mistakes.
That's really freeing advice. I think many learners put too much pressure on themselves.
Exactly. Language learning should be enjoyable, not stressful. When you relax and accept mistakes as part of learning, you actually learn faster.
Olivia, let's talk about variety. Should people practice thinking in English in different types of situations?
Absolutely. Your brain needs practice in many contexts. Think in English in different situations. At work, at home, while shopping, while exercising, while relaxing. Each situation has different vocabulary and different types of thoughts.
Can you give us examples of how thinking might differ in these situations?
Sure, at work, you might think, I need to finish this report. I should email my boss. I have a meeting at 3 p.m. While exercising, I'm tired. My legs hurt. Just 5 more minutes. I can do this. While shopping, I need vegetables. Where are the tomatoes? This is too expensive.
So you're building vocabulary for different areas of life.
Yes, and you're also training your brain to switch into English mode in any situation. This is important because in real life, you need English in many contexts, not just one.
What about social situations, like thinking about conversations with friends?
Great example. You can practice this too. After talking with friends, replay the conversation in your mind in English. Or before meeting someone, plan what you want to say in English. I want to tell my friend about my new job. I'll say,
So you're rehearsing in English?
yes, athletes visualize their performance before competitions. Language learners can do the same. Visualize conversations in English before they happen. This prepares your brain and reduces anxiety.
Let's talk about technology. What apps or tools can help people think in English?
There are many helpful tools. First, change your phone language to English. This forces you to interact with technology in English every day. Every notification, every menu, every app is now in English.
That's simple but effective.
Yes. Also, use English for searches. When you want to know something, search it in English, not your native language. Even if it takes longer at first, you're building English thinking habits.
What about voice assistants like Siri or Google Assistant?
Excellent tool. Set your voice assistant to English and use it for simple tasks. Set a timer for 10 minutes. What's the weather today? Remind me to call mom. This is speaking practice and listening practice combined.
And it's low pressure because you're talking to a device, not a person.
Exactly. You can practice without embarrassment. If the device doesn't understand you, you simply try again with clearer pronunciation.
What about language learning apps?
Apps like HelloTalk or Tandem are great for finding conversation partners. But remember, apps are tools to support your practice. The real work happens in your daily thinking. Apps can't do that for you.
So technology is helpful, but not a replacement for real mental practice.
Correct. Use technology to create more English in your life, but the most important practice is inside your own mind, thinking in English throughout the day.
Olivia, what about learners who feel frustrated because progress feels slow?
This is so common. Language learning is not a straight line. Some days you'll feel great, other days you'll feel like you've forgotten everything. This is completely normal.
Why does this happen?
Your brain is forming new connections, and this takes time. Some days the connections are strong, other days they're weak. But if you keep practicing, the connections become permanent.
So consistency is key.
Yes, it's better to practice 15 minutes every single day than to practice 3 hours once a week. Your brain needs regular exposure to form habits.
What should people do when they feel discouraged?
First, remember why you started learning English. What's your motivation? Keep that reason in mind. Second, celebrate small victories. Maybe today you thought about your entire morning routine in English. That's progress. Don't only focus on what you can't do yet. Appreciate what you can already do.
That's beautiful advice. What about comparing yourself to others?
Never compare. Everyone learns at their own pace. Someone might be better at speaking, but you might be better at listening. Someone might have more time to practice. Someone might have different learning opportunities. Focus on your own journey.
And accept that mistakes are part of learning.
Yes, mistakes are not failures. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. Every mistake is a learning opportunity. Native speakers made thousands of mistakes while learning their first language. You're learning a second or third or fourth language. Be proud of that.
Should people practice with other English learners or only with native speakers?
Both are valuable. Practicing with other learners can actually be less intimidating. You're all at similar levels. You understand each other's struggles, you can support each other.
But won't you learn mistakes from other learners?
This is a concern people have, but in reality, the benefits of practice outweigh this risk. When you speak with other learners, you're building confidence and fluency. You can always check grammar and vocabulary later with teachers or native speakers.
So the speaking practice itself is valuable.
Very valuable. Many learners wait until they're ready to speak with native speakers, but you're never really ready. You become ready by practicing. Speaking with other learners is a safe way to build that experience.
How can people find other learners to practice with?
Join online communities, English learning groups on social media, language exchange meetups, or study groups. Many are free. You can also create a small group with friends who are also learning English.
And what should they talk about?
Anything. Talk about your day, your hobbies, your goals, current events, movies, food. The topic doesn't matter as much as the practice itself. The goal is to think in English and express your thoughts.
Olivia, how can people make English learning more enjoyable?
This is so important. If learning feels like hard work, you'll quit. But if it's enjoyable, you'll keep going. So connect English to things you already love.
Can you give examples?
Of course, if you love cooking, watch English cooking videos and think about recipes in English. If you love sports, follow English sports news and think about games in English. If you love music, listen to English songs and think about the lyrics.
So make English learning about your interests, not just about English itself?
Exactly. English is not the goal. English is the tool. The goal is to enjoy your interests, communicate your ideas, and achieve your dreams. English just helps you do that.
This is a really important mindset shift.
Yes, too many learners think I must study English, like it's a chore. Instead, think I get to use English to do things I enjoy. This small change in thinking makes a huge difference in motivation.
What about making English part of your identity?
That's powerful. Don't think of yourself as someone trying to learn English. Think of yourself as an English speaker who is still improving. This identity shift changes how you approach the language.
So you start seeing yourself as an English speaker now, not a future English speaker?
Yes, even if you're a beginner, you're already an English speaker. You're just becoming a better one. This removes the pressure and makes learning feel more natural.
Olivia, we're coming to the end of our conversation. Can you give us a summary of the most important points?
Sure. First, start small. Begin with simple thoughts about daily activities. Second, be consistent. Practice every day, even if just for 10 minutes. Third, don't worry about perfection. Focus on communication and fluency. Fourth, immerse yourself in English through media, technology, and environment. Fifth, be patient with yourself. Language learning takes time.
Those are excellent points. Any final advice for our listeners?
Yes, remember that thinking in English is a skill, not a talent. Anyone can develop it with practice. Don't wait until you're good enough. Start today, right now. Think about what you're doing right now in English. That's the first step.
What would you say to someone who's tried before and failed?
Failure is not the end. It's just information about what didn't work. Maybe you tried methods that didn't fit your learning style. Maybe you didn't have enough support. Maybe you were too hard on yourself. But now you have new knowledge and new strategies. Try again with what you've learned today.
That's encouraging. How often should people practice thinking in English?
Ideally, every day, but life is busy, so aim for at least 5 days a week. Make it a habit like brushing your teeth. You don't think about whether you want to brush your teeth, you just do it. English practice should become automatic like that.
And when will people see results?
Some results come quickly. After just 1 week of daily practice, you'll notice it's easier to think of simple phrases. After 1 month, you'll catch yourself thinking in English without trying. After 3 months, it starts feeling natural. After 6 months to a year, English thinking becomes a normal part of your life.
That's a realistic timeline. Not overnight, but not impossibly long either.
Exactly. And here's the beautiful thing. Once you train your brain to think in English, it never goes away. It's like riding a bike. Even if you don't practice for a while, the skill remains.
Before we finish, do you have any resources you'd like to recommend?
I recommend finding English podcasts about topics you enjoy. Listen to them regularly. Also, join online English communities where you can read and write in English daily. And most importantly, be kind to yourself throughout this journey.
Wonderful advice. Olivia, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It was a pleasure to talk about this important topic.
And thank you to all our listeners. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to start to become better. Begin thinking in English today, right now, even if it's just one simple thought. Every journey begins with a single step.
And that step can be as simple as thinking, I am listening to this podcast in English. See, you're already doing it.
Perfect example. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Speak Your Flow and share it with anyone who's learning English. We create content to help you speak English naturally and confidently. Until next time, keep practicing, keep improving, and keep speaking your flow.
Happy learning, everyone.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.